It's Jennifer Vatz of Belladonna's Botanicals, and I'm here with the February 2023 updates for all things Belladonna's Botanicals and me. I'll start with some updates for Poison Path products. If you've been following, I've run into a lot of different issues on different platforms and payment processing. So right now, my current stopgap measure is that I do apologize. The Poison Path product section is under construction a bit on the website as of right now, but I do have an order form. So if you submit the order form to me, I will create a custom listing for you, which you then just add to your cart. It'll take care of, shipping, taxes, any discounts that are all going on at the time. Got to do that before. So otherwise you can get most of everything on our eBay website, and I'll have links for everything below. The only problem is eBay, they didn't take down all of them yet, but our herbal smoke blends, while they do not contain tobacco, apparently violate eBay's tobacco policy. Most, and I've run into this before because I can't sell them on Etsy either, is that anything that can be smoked is a tobacco product, whether or not it contains tobacco, or I should say inhaled, because it also, if it's not a tobacco product, then it's a vaping device. And I've been having this argument for a long time. I'm tired of arguing it. So for now, regardless of what our long-term solution is to this, which it may be that we have to move to a down the line third-party payment processor that doesn't give a shit about what we sell and doesn't have policies. The only problem with that is that they are going to have much higher rates. For every credit card, transaction, there's fees associated. They may have slightly higher fees. So if that's the case, we may have to raise our prices a bit to compensate for that if they're taking out a much higher cut. Because a lot of, I think someone recommended Pinwheel. I also had heard Square, but I'm not entirely sure. I feel like Square is probably a little too big and probably has the similar policies. The other thing that's nice with Square is they have the little thing if you do in-person events, which I haven't been doing, so not a big deal. But for now, yeah, I would just use the Poison Path order form. It goes directly to our email. I'm on the East Coast on the United States, so it might take me a little bit depending on the time zone you're in and time of order place till I can go and create a custom order for you. But I'll do that. I do that. I send you the link. You just add that to your cart, and if you want to buy other stuff too, or just that, it takes care of everything. So that for now is the easiest way to do it if you want to purchase things through our website. If you want to go directly through eBay, that's fine. eBay is just a little bit hard to navigate. It's very annoying. I'm trying to look through the front facing of my shop, to find a product so I can send someone a link, or so I can link to it in an email or social media post. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? So anyways, the good news also is, going back to my updates from last year where I was having trouble getting my Belladonna and European Mandrake. I did get a large supply of Belladonna in last month, and I just received an ample supply of European Mandrake. So I've been slowly kind of going through and restocking things as I can. On average, depending on the week, I can probably pull about 2, maybe 3 if I'm lucky, restocks a week. It just depends on the timing for me, what else I have going on. Um, because the flying ointments are a longer process. Like I have to do like the infusion on low heat. I do that over well, sometimes I do it longer than I intend to because I just don't, or I leave it after I've turned the heat off, so I strain it and, assemble everything and get it together. So, it's just a longer process, and I use my crock pots for it, and I only have two, so, that's usually kind of what I do. So on average, I'm kind of releasing 2 a week. A couple I have I reformulated before I was able to get the European Mandrake in. And right now I'm looking at, as I'm restocking things, what really needs to have Mandrake root in it, because it is very expensive. I mean, it is probably about, I get mine probably for about $250 a pound. So, which is a lot. um, it's probably one of the most expensive things herbs and stuff I use. Essential oils some of them can be pricey, but it's probably like the single, that and the flag arc mushrooms are probably like the two most expensive things I buy as far as like herbal stuff goes. But that aside, so yeah. So I've been rebatching things. We're okay on the European Mandrake and the Belladonna for now. I have a reliable source for Datura and Anoxia. I have a lot of Bermondsey and what's the other one? Bermondsey and Datura stramonium on hand. Black henbane I'm okay on, but I don't use it in a whole lot of products. So it's lasted pretty long. I don't have like, I have to look and see, because I think I got it from a supplier in Greece the last time I got it. So either that or I need to look at someone who can grow some locally for me and deal with it that way. But those are the big ones that I work, use a lot. So like anything, I am trying my best. This is moving on to the next thing outside of poison path stuff. I'm trying my best to not have to do another repricing this year. However, the economy and supply chain might necessitate that. It's so, like, it blows my mind every time I order something and it's just an entirely different, it's more expensive. Like, let me like the labels I use for my products. Now I print these all at home. So I buy packs of label sheets. I usually buy them by 100 sheets. They can have anywhere from 4 labels per sheet to 30 some labels per sheet. I think maybe out of the sheets I use, I think 20 is the most that I have on a sheet. I don't use the super tiny labels or anything. But when I first started getting them, they were $99.95 a pack for 100 sheets. And now they're $123.95 a pack for 100 sheets. So it's, that's just one thing. I haven't had anyone complain too much. I mean, maybe initially a little bit. People are like, why did you raise your prices so much? Don't you know how expensive everything else is? Like, I'm like, yeah, everything went up in price, including every single thing I use. I've made adjustments where I can. Like, there were a lot of things I was using glass bottles for where I just was like, I just need to move to using the PET plastic bottles. But it also, it saves a little bit on the shipping weight. The price per unit is much less expensive. But so I'm trying not to have to do that. If I do, it'll kind of be over. I kind of normalized my pricing structure last year a little better. That's why everything now is like kind of even keel, like they're all $17.99 instead of, this one being 16 and this one being, 15 and that one being 18 and the other one being, $17.50. So I just figure it all comes out in the wash in the end. Yeah, I think, a lot of us, I think, were hopeful that the issues we were seeing with the supply chain and the inflation were eventually going to settle down. They may, but it hasn't been the case so far. Like the vast majority of my revenue that I bring in goes right back out to supplies. So, or shipping. I'm like, at the end of the day, I make very little profit here. So I mean, I do try to keep my pricing reasonable because I mean, I don't want to charge you $100 for something like this, you know. um but anyways, so that aside, um give you some health updates because I talk about that a lot. Um and then this will go into a little bit with some shipping stuff, and processing and handling. Over the course of last year, I went through a process of spinal injections and ablations in my lower lumbar sacral spine because I have a series of not great degenerative things going on, that are all kind of precursors to spinal stenosis. But what that means is I have a daily dose of chronic pain at varying levels. I have mobility issues at varying levels. Occasionally, I'll have a good day that doesn't, uh, suck. But the thing is, after I have because they had to do the left side spinal ablation in November and the right side in December, and it didn't really do much. I actually think it might have actually made things worse, as far as the pain goes. Mobility wise, I'm okay sometimes. It just depends on what I'm doing. Like if I have to walk a few blocks, I might be okay to a point. Sometimes I'm not, like I just can't. So right now, my process, because uh, with the pain in my back, makes it sometimes hard to stand for long periods of time. So I have to be like up and down a lot, or do something and then go lay down for an hour. So I'm working through trying to find medications that work. I was my last visit, they gave me Celebrex and a muscle relaxer. The muscle relaxer just made me sleep. I'm like, wake up, okay, well, I'll take the muscle relaxer and then go back to bed until bedtime. Not useful at all. If I ever can't sleep, at least I can take a muscle relaxer and it'll let me out. But I was taking Celebrex, which was actually working a bit for the pain. The problem is that it was, and this is well known, side effects and stuff of it, is that I was just noticing that I was having so much abdominal pain, like to the point I feel like I grew my uterus back and was about to like, and was about like 8 months pregnant. Um, and or having like the worst, PMS menstrual cramps of my life. Not to mention, being just bloated to the point where my skin felt tight across my abdomen and kind of having that burning, like in your stomach, like it just felt like there's this like one spot in my stomach lining that was just always burning. And regardless of what I took, whether it was Pepto or any of my Tums or any of those things, just didn't really seem to help it that much. So I am now on to trying to find something else. I'm currently doing I got some CBD and CBG gummies. I got this is their 1200, sorry, 250 milligrams. There's a higher dose of them. I just wanted to start at that one to see how it was, because sometimes things like that will just be like also make me sleep. They're all right. Some days I take one, some days I take two. They're a little pricier than, say a prescription medication that's mostly covered by your insurance, but I'm also looking at, I do still have some of my medical marijuana stuff. Um, I just accidentally let my license lapse in December. I missed the renewal by a day. I'm like, So I'm just waiting to hear back. My psychiatrist actually handles medical marijuana patients, so I'm just waiting to hear back from her. I'm gonna make an appointment and kind of do that through her. So I'm hoping maybe that I can find something along the spectrum that works well. Because once I stopped taking the Celebrex after a few days, like my stomach, like I don't feel awful. I'm like, well, great, my back doesn't hurt, but my abdomen was all like a hot mess. So I'm like, I can't win anyways. So TMI body issues aside, I tend to drive myself really hard. I am very dedicated to what I do. And sometimes I'm an asshole to myself and guilt trip myself about like, I mean, the amount of whole days I take off is very minimal over the course of a year. I might take a half day off, like yesterday, I think, and maybe it was yesterday. I kind of like chilled. I think I slept in, and yeah, I don't know, I was probably in pain or I took something and I just kind of went back to bed until like 3 p.m. or something and kind of lazed about until the evening. And then I kind of was like, all right, well, I got to pack my orders and, do a few things and, got some stuff done, made a batch of soap and, kind of called it a day. But it's like there's part of me that guilt trips myself when I do that because I feel like I could be making new products. I could be restocking things faster. I could be doing more. And it bugs me when I can. I prefer to ship everything out next day if I can. Like if an order comes in Monday, chances are I will ship it out on Tuesday. Unless it's something custom, then I usually I allow a little more time for that. But I drive myself pretty hard with unrealistic demands. And I think I need to listen to my body more on that. So there might be times when I'm just I will ship out what I can next day, but there might just be times where I peter out and I just have to do it the following day. I mean, obviously I'm going to kind of do things in the order in which they came in. Occasionally I'll get stuck in something. It might take a little longer if there's something I have to restock that takes longer to make, like the incense blends that I do, because I don't just grind up a bunch of herbs and call it a day. Like I use a binding agent, there's essential oils and fragrances and distilled water, so it needs to dry very thoroughly, and usually it'll dry overnight, but sometimes it doesn't. So, and I've learned my lesson of trying to force the issue, because if you package it too early and it's still a little damp, it will get moldy. And I've had to throw entire batches away because I was impatient. So, that's something I really want to make sure is really dry well before I send it. So it might, if it's in that case of like, it might take an extra day, or like flying ointments or stuff. Custom, like I mentioned, it kind of, I allow a little extra time for that, but it just depends on, like sometimes I'll make something and I don't like it, go through packaging it all at once. Like I rebatched the Florida water bath salts day or maybe 2 days ago. It's just in a gigantic crock stock pot. So I've just been packaging it as orders come in for it. And I'm pretty sure the rebatch of return to sender oil is going to be sold out before I actually get to like finish pouring it into the bottles. So yeah. As far as, well, speaking of oils, as far as our ritual oil reboots have been going really well, and that's where we're selling them in the one, it's a little dark in here, but we're selling them like the crystal healing oils in the 1 ounce dropper bottles, with the herbs or sometimes crystals inside. So as I've been running out of things, that's when I go through and the whole process of changing everything over to the new version of them. So I think I have a couple more that I'm doing. I know there's a few I'm out of or almost out of. So yeah. So and again, those I'm kind of releasing maybe about 1 or 2 a week, depending on the week. So and what sells, because occasionally I can just randomly sell out of something I have a whole lot of in a day for whatever reason. But yeah, people seem to be happy with those. I like them. They're just a little easier to work with, especially with the dropper, so you can get, you don't have to make a whole mess, because you can just take your little dropper and go boop, boop, boop on your candle or whatever you're making. So, yeah, and trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to put in this. So I'm also thinking, I don't know when I'm going to drop it, but with the premium content that I've been making for my YouTube members and Patreon, I'm actually thinking of for the shadow work and self-love content specifically. I'm looking at releasing that at some point as like, I might do them as like one-off, like kind of downloadable like classes where you get like the video and the content, the PDF and all the stuff that goes with it. So that's something to kind of keep your eye out for in the future. Because I have so much great content that I'm recording for all this stuff. That I really want to share with people because I think it's valuable in that sense, especially for the shadow work and self-love. Like the oracle readings are monthly, so it's a little more based on what was I gonna say? That was, the oracle reading for that particular month of that year. The crystal and Reiki ones are, healing sessions that are kind of monthly based. So while all that content is accessible if you're subscribed at those levels, I don't feel like there would be any added benefit of offering them in like the way I would offer like a course and like doing the shadow work stuff that I'm developing. So that's hopefully something I've gotten. Well, it's February, so I just started those in January, so it might be a few months until I kind of get everything kind of together for that, or faster, who knows. I'm unpredictable at times. I can't even keep track of myself. What are we talking about? But yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you as always for your support and your kind words and understanding. Well, most people are understanding, some are not. Anyways. I would say it's getting late here, but I have no idea what time it is. It's dark time. Anyways, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. I'll have links to everything that I mentioned below in the description. Love y'all.